Well, tell me what you thought it was first.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like super action packed, but I felt like for the most part, Denny Hamlin proved you can get up through the field. Ty Gibbs maybe a little bit slower than Denny did, but obviously Denny won the race, so he had one of the fastest cars there. I give it a solid 7. I thought it was a decent race.
Yeah, I was going to say 6.5. I think that it was. I don't really want to change anything about the race. I'm not upset that there weren't more cautions. I obviously would have made it more exciting. There's still some aero dependency issues that bother me, but it's not like it used to be.
Following is a production of the Garage Area.
Welcome into the garage area. This is our post Las Vegas show where Denny Hamlin ends up getting his first win of the year. Toyota seems to continue their pretty strong run to start the season. And we had several questions leading into this weekend, and I think that we got a lot of them answered. But that also leads to more questions that I have that I'm going to ask you today as well. Um, I am laptopless for this show, so I'm subjected to whatever Ryan wants to do on the screen in front of me, which uh, is might actually be more helpful. There was a couple questions going into this weekend, such as who was going to be fast to once you got to the real mile and a half track of Las Vegas. Going through a couple super speedway style races and a road course. Phoenix is kind of an oddball racetrack. Now we're into a true mile and a half, and do we think that we're going to be able to get a good measure of who was fast and who was not? Because there were some guys that were up there in points that you could kind of attribute their strong runs to the type of racetracks that we had gone to. And now that we're going to your traditional mile and a half, are those things going to hold up? And uh, there's also this question of the new Chevy body. How's that going to perform at those style of racetracks? Things along that line. Are the big three really going to be that strong? Blah, blah, blah. A bunch of different things like that. And we did have quite a few of them answered. As far as the race itself goes, I didn't think that. I mean, I just didn't write down that many notes. There was very, very few cautions. One thing I'm like blanking from my brain. What was the caution at the end? That in the middle of the pit cycle. What happened?
Oh, that was the Connor Zilic ran into Ricky Stenhouse Jr. pitting.
Was that the only caution for incident?
Um, it's the only one I can remember.
Okay. Let's we're scroll down here. It should tell you the cautions here on. Yeah, okay, 88-47. That's the last deal of the day. Um, so yeah, there was only the stage breaks and then the one caution for incident, which was with, like you just said, Connor Zilic and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Stenhouse was apparently trying to come to pit road. Uh, I guess I don't know where we want to start with this one. Let's just start with Shane Van Gisbergen. He's somebody that was in the, I think, was he fifth in points going into this week?
Yeah.
He was up there pretty high due to the strong finishes that he'd had to start the year, and he ends up finishing dead last because he spun out at the beginning of the race and just seemed like he could never recover from that. That I don't I don't have my head wrapped around the strategy well enough to explain it, but I understand that there is when you experience an issue early in the race and then you have a long series of green flag runs like we had, it makes it nearly impossible to make up that time lost.
Yeah.
And that just seemed to be the case with Shane. It wasn't that he was junk; he just got so far behind to start with and could never catch back up.
I mean, you heat up your tires and that puts you behind the 8 ball. They said he had some splitter damage too, so
That doesn't
his
help.
car was a little bit probably slower. But I mean, when you don't have the caution brakes to help you get back on track, it's going to be a rough day.
Your favorite driver, Denny Hamlin. I was listening to his podcast. I know that's normally your thing, but I was listening to that today because it came out early enough that he was saying that something that I hadn't really thought about, and you can physically see this watching the race, is that Las Vegas for a mile and a half is so narrow that aerodynamics matter more there than they do at a lot of other mile and a halves. They say Kansas is so wide, you got room to move around and get out of that wake. But because Vegas is so narrow, it just the aero dependency is a bigger factor.
Yeah.
And that was something I hadn't really considered coming into this week. Uh, but that would make sense with that splitter damage on him, and Zilic too with a run into the back of Stenhouse. They didn't end up finishing real well because of stuff like that. But Uh, that's just how how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Uh, SVG got 36, which is dead last. That drops him back to with uh, tied at 16th in points, I believe. You got the points right here. I don't even need to look it up. With Suarez,
There's a couple points
there's a couple
behind
points
Suarez.
difference. I thought I thought somebody said that they were tied, and when I looked on the NASCAR, it was tied. So I don't know. Racing Reference, their point system is always. I always have questions when I'm looking at that, but he's
Yeah.
back down to 16th anyways,
Yeah.
or right around there for the last car in the chase. If you can go back up to the results, there's going back down to the bottom of the results. So he ends up 36th. Connor Zilic gets 32nd. Last year's winner, Josh Berry, 31st. Did that surprise you, or was that kind of where you thought it would shake out?
That surprised me for sure. I don't know what. I know the Fords have been struggle on aero dependency this year. But I expected basically a Penske car. Obviously, it's Wood Brothers, but a Penske prepared car I would expect to be better than where he's finished.
They're always if you're going to call it a Penske car, they're always the number 4.
Yeah.
The Wood Brothers always seems to be. I guess except for when Blaney was in it, he was pretty fast in his rookie years in Cup in the 21 car. But yeah, I didn't expect him to run that poorly. I mean, I thought maybe he'd be a 15th place car.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect him to run clear back in 31st. So I'm sure that's disappointing for them being last year's winner. Definitely, I didn't expect them to be a contender for the win, but I thought they would run closer to the other Penske cars. Kyle Busch in 28th. Just, I saw a tweet. I actually retweeted it. It said, "Hey Hendrick, can you put Kyle in the 48? I just want to see something."
Yeah, I did. I saw that.
And yeah, I do too. Like, I want to see something. Like, can you actually run well? Are the RCR cars this bad? Because it doesn't. It defies logic. Because Austin Dillon was clear up in 12th.
Yeah.
For him to be that bad just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why Kyle has run that far off. Somebody, I've told you before about my coworker that's a Kyle Busch fan.
Yeah.
And he said, he goes, I don't know why Kyle just doesn't quit. Just say, put somebody else in the car the rest of the year. Obviously, they're not going to do that. But yeah, it does. I don't really see Kyle Busch as being a quitter, but it does make you wonder if he shows up to the racetrack like, we don't stand a chance this week.
Yeah.
And why would he think anything different?
I think you can tell on his radio in the car, he's just ticked off from there and stuff. And I feel like he's like, why am I even out here? I think he has that attitude. I don't see him not being in the car, but I think he's got some frustrations.
Do you think that this is, remember when Kurt Busch went through this whole thing? Like after he got fired from Penske, he kind of went through a few different cars that weren't good. And just major crash out on the radio every week. And he was crashing out in the Penske stuff too, which the Penske stuff then wasn't what it is now either.
Yeah.
Like they weren't running up front very often. He was still winning a race or two here and there, but they weren't top 5 cars every week. And well, Penske now it doesn't seem like they're top 5 cars every week either. But it's I think that we might have gave Kurt kind of a hard time over the whole situation. I mean, it's hard to excuse somebody's actions when they're acting like that, but I mean, it doesn't seem like Kyle's that far behind him. And if that's the case, he's going to need whatever therapy Kurt had, because Kurt's a totally different guy today than he was then. You honestly, if you look at pictures of Kurt when he was with Roush and Penske, and you look at pictures of him now, I'm not even sure it's the same dude.
Yeah.
He looks so different. And his whole mentality has changed so much, which has been a good thing. He's actually more endearing to fans than I think he used to be. McDowell ended up 26th. Did you think that was a poor run for him? Like, were you surprised that he ran that poorly? I mean, for as good as Spire had started, they were kind of one of those teams that this was going to be, the question was going to be answered today, theoretically, whether they were going to be continually fast or not.
Yeah. See, Hocevar only finished to
22nd.
So I expect top 20s at least out of them cars.
Yeah. Suarez was 18th.
Yeah, Suarez was the only one that made it there. I expected him to be the worst of the 3, I think, when we talked about him. But
so yes, at the beginning of the year, if you asked me that, I would have said the 7 will be the worst car. But now, as Suarez has gone throughout these first few races, I think they're all three pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that wouldn't even say I'm surprised at how well Daniel's running. It's just there seemed to have historically been more of a gap in those cars, the Spire cars, but particularly, and it seems like any week any one of them could be the lead one.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good thing for an organization. Justin Allgaier was in there for relief of Alex Bowman. He ends up finishing 25th. What did you think? Meet your expectations? Did you think he'd run better than that?
I thought he'd run better than that, but at one point he was dead last, like 3 laps down. So the fact that he got back up to 25th, he may have figured something out by the end. I think beginning of stage 2, they had to pit for a flat tire that put him behind
Okay.
K-Ball. He was already a lap down by that point, and I put him like 2 more laps down. I think at the point that he pitted that point, he was able to stretch the rest of the stage, but he lost a lot of time still at that point, and he was still a couple laps down with that stage break. But the fact that he finished 25th, 2 laps down, was better than I thought he would. So after the pit stop incident or the flat tire incident, so um, I I expected more out of him. I think he had to, let's see, where Alfredo ran the car last week.
Yeah.
He got wrecked out there. So
yeah, but was running well at the time.
Yeah, I think Allgaier like qualified outside the top 20, and I think it just stuck back in the dirty air and stuff and figured the car out.
So who would you say right now is the best driver in the Xfinity Series or the O'Reilly Series? Full-time driver.
Yeah, I think I had to put Allgaier.
So I would too. That'd be the first guy that came to mind anyway.
Yeah.
Do you think that him struggling in a Hendrick level vehicle is a testament to how hard the jump is from that series to Cup, or do you think it's just he doesn't have any track time compared to the rest of these guys?
I would say a little bit of both.
Yeah, it's a combination of the two. It could very well be. It does seem like it's a tremendous jump.
I mean, he drove the 5 car at
Charlotte
that year. Larson was running the Indy double, and he finished 13th with that car after going a lap down.
Yeah.
So I think it's just maybe he needs more lap time. I think he's capable of driving these cars, but just when you're only in them once in a while and stuff.
Definitely probably hurts that a little bit. Do you think that Alfredo's advantage was the fact that he's in the sim all the time for Hendrick?
Possibly. That'd be the only thing. I don't know how much.
Because do you think that Alfredo would have finished better in the 48 today?
I mean, it'd probably been similar finish anyways.
It's all theoretical, I guess, but
I haven't paid enough attention to Alfredo's track performance. See, most of the time in the Cup, he drives the 62 for on the restricted plate tracks and whatnot.
When they let him in.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking through the list here. Host of our 22nd, kind of a surprise, like we said. Suarez and Chastain ended up there 17th and 18th. I guess we can just talk about it while we're here. Them guys got in a little bit of a scuffle after the race.
Yeah, I still don't know over what.
Well, have you listened to Denny's podcast?
No.
Okay, so he was talking about it, and he said that they were asking him if they thought that there was anything on the track that led to that, or if it is just something that's been building over time between the two of them. And he said that there was nothing that he saw that would lead to them having that kind of an incident on pit road, on racetrack issues. He said that he believed that it had been building over time, and obviously we don't know for sure, but it did seem like through some lip reading that Ross had told him, "You got fired."
I did see that clip.
So I don't know if there's obviously some bad blood there.
Well, I saw Suarez says our relationship has always been two-faced.
Yeah.
So I saw that. So obviously they weren't the greatest teammates.
Yeah.
Which was kind of odd because I thought like the first time Suarez got a win, Ross was bringing the taco out for him to smash on victory out on the track. So.
But do you think that Ross is just a good team guy as far as like he supports Trackhouse? Like he seems like seems like a big Trackhouse.
He's a Trackhouse number one.
And whoever's in that car, he'll support them.
Yeah.
But if it was a one-on-one personal thing, he's not a fan.
Yeah. And that was.
And I don't have anything for or against Suarez.
Yeah.
I'm not like if Suarez won at this point, or even last year when he won at was it Mexico City with Junior's car?
Oh, in the Xfinity.
Yeah. that was like, I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
He's in his front of his hometown. Like, I had nothing against him at all. Uh, he's not. He's kind of it's just a mediocre driver. I'm not saying he's a mediocre driver. I mean, he probably is in that category, but I'm neutral on how I feel about him. I don't love him or hate him. If he wins, great. If he doesn't, I'm not upset about it. And Suarez or Chastain is more polarizing, I feel.
Yeah.
Because I very much just to go back to the very beginning. I was rooting for Chastain because he was always in that. Can't remember what the team was. But basically those lousy race cars.
Yeah.
They always ran like the Flex Steel sponsorship and whatnot in the O'Reilly series. And
was it like JD something?
Maybe, yeah,
JD. Was it the number 4 you're thinking
about? Yeah, the 4 is what I'm thinking of. And they just, it was always, you were rooting for him to get a good opportunity, and then he got his good opportunity, and then he started winning. I think really his prominence was with the Nice Motorsports truck stuff, is when he really became Ross Chastain.
Yeah.
And during that period of time, it was like, hey, that's awesome, he's winning. It was kind of like when Truex started to win with 78. It was like, hey, that's cool. You know, Truex has been one of those guys who's been here forever. He hasn't really won, and now he's a championship contender. That's awesome. And you kind of felt that. I felt that way about Ross coming up. And then when he actually got to Cup and started doing dumb stuff, it was like, I can't stand this guy. And that was the mantra for a while. And then it kind of calmed down to where, okay, he settled. Everybody talks about it. It was after the Darlington, he wrecked Kyle Larson there.
Yeah.
And Rick Hendrick called him, and he kind of just settled everything down from there. And it took a while for him to get back to running well, but he was able to maintain that same mediocre personality and run well. And now it just seems like I'm back into what are you fighting with him about? I don't understand. The thing that really ticked me off is that he wouldn't talk about it afterwards. Jeff Gluck said that he asked Ross, he's like, hey, can I get a comment on what happened on pit road? And he told him not a chance. Like, of all the media people, Jeff Gluck is one of the seems like one of the nicest people.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell him not a chance. And I'm sure that Ross has had negative experiences with the media in the past as far as them spinning stories, or however you want to say it, making him look bad, worse than he probably already looked, I guess. He made himself look bad, but they made him look worse due to some of the way that they wrote their stories and whatnot. And he obviously doesn't like that. And so that's probably where some of that's coming from. But I don't know what's going on with him and Suarez, and it's going to be an interesting thing to watch because Suarez will wreck him.
Yeah.
I'm sure of that.
I saw one clip where it looked like Suarez maybe ran him up off a turn 2 toward the wall, but no contact was made, but they both checked up. I think Chastain checked up to make sure he didn't get put in the fence, and Suarez had to check up at that point, but I think Chastain, I don't remember whether they started giving each other the number 1, whether it was still while they were racing or the cool down lap. But
yeah. Blaney and Logano end up finishing 15th and 16th. And where did Austin Cindric finish? I think he's below there. I don't see him. Oh, yeah, he's 19th. Okay, so they all kind of finished right there together, 15th, 16th, and 19th. Definitely expected more out of them today, especially Blaney. Like, he was running up front at one point, and I know that he got caught in that. He was in the middle of the pit cycle when that caution came out for Zilich, and that's really what kind of killed them.
Yeah, I think he was like 10th at that point.
I was going to say, I think he was as high as 6th at one point during the day, but kind of back half of the top 10 was his running position. And that's just unfortunate for him to get caught in something like that. But they weren't competing for the win fast by any means, any of them. And Logano ran almost exactly 15th all day, and that just, I'm surprised at how much better the RFK cars were. But yeah, just kind of expected more out of Team Penske there. Austin Dillon got shout him out, like we said, for the 12th place finish. Priest was 11th. Keselowski with the top 10, good run for him. Bubba Wallace is fast.
Yeah,
and he finished 9th today, and him being up there, is he still second in points?
Yeah,
him being in that spot is not a fluke. Like, he is running well week in and week out and deserves to be there. Love him or hate him, whatever, his car is fast, and he's gonna be a factor this year by the looks. And Tyler Reddick is another guy that ran in the top 10 a lot of the day, and just I don't know if what happened to him there. He ended up 13th, but kind of got shuffled. It seemed like there toward the end.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that had like a short run car and would fall off. So I remember he would run the top five at the beginning of the race, and I remember like I was watching Chase Elliott, of course, and he I thought I just remember Chase Elliott passing him on like the back half of the run, green flag runs and stuff, and because I expected Elliott to run like 15th to 10th all day just
Yeah,
because of how they've been running, and I'm like, oh, Chase is even passing him at this point. So I just think like Reddick could hold his position for 10, 15 laps, then he'd start bleeding positions throughout the race. So I think whatever he ended up, he just by the end of the race he was getting past, and that's where he held on at the end.
yeah. Uh, Chase Briscoe, he got caught speeding on pit road, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Him and Gibbs and Hamlin all definitely got nailed for speeding. I don't. Did Bell get hit for speeding too?
I don't think so. No,
Okay. Did he have some other issue?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm not. There was too many guys to pay attention to it at that point. But Briscoe, yeah, he got a little contact from that initial SVG spin. He ended up, like we just said, at the speeding penalty, had to go to the back. He was a couple laps down, maybe 3 laps down, even. Definitely 2 laps down at one point. And
I don't think he was ever 3 laps down that I can
okay,
remember.
but he was more than 1 lap down at one point during the day, and ends up finally, like I said, with all the green flag runs, he just wasn't able to really make up any ground because you're not getting any wave rounds or lucky dogs or any of that, and he ends up still coming back to finish eighth. So his misfortune continues to start the year, but he was able to at least round out an eighth place finish from it.
Yeah, I
So
know he had one speeding penalty, and then he also had a pitting out of the box penalty on
okay,
another stop. So that kind of I guess what kept him behind so long. So
yeah, that's I didn't realize about the second one.
yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot of adversity for him to overcome, and he ended up back in eighth position doing it. Um, like Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs, those guys all ran really well through all day long, and all the Gibbs cars looked pretty strong. And then the Hendrick cars also at times looked good. I mean, Chase Elliott, he apparently didn't lead any laps, but he was up front all day. William Byron led 26 laps. Kyle Larson ended up leading 62. Those Hendrick cars ran strong, minus 48. Uh, and like I said, there was a lot of questions about the Chevy body. That doesn't seem to be a thing. That
I think the beginning of races is till they figure out their car. I think it's a little bit of thing. I think that the new body, it's taken them throughout the race to get that speed, even after practice and stuff. Because if you base practice to the race, all the Toyotas to me would have finished ahead of the Chevys. Um, but obviously, by the second stage, a lot of those Chevy guys figured their cars out and stuff. So I think maybe the beginning of some of these races here at the beginning of the year, it might take them a pit stop or two to get the adjustments right to where they want them.
but you would definitely say that if nothing else, the Hendrick cars were in, if they weren't in that class with the JGR cars, they were in the very next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they were fast today. And I guess my point with the Chevy body thing is whether or not, like you said, that if they got to develop the car to figure out exactly what feel they need to be fast, the speed's there. Like
Yeah.
it's not like the body's going to magically change
No.
itself throughout the race. It is what it is, and they just got to figure out how the car is going to set up to match that.
Yeah.
But so I guess there should be no concern about it being fast,
Yeah.
especially at high downforce racetracks. Um, so that would be one question that I think is answered. But I guess the thing that I'm curious about and what your thoughts are, especially with Chase Elliott finishing second, as good as the Gibbs cars were, they made a lot of mistakes. And like you said, I mean, Briscoe had a couple of them. And with the Hendrick cars being almost as good and having flawless races, did you feel that is that concerning to you that like even on a flawless day they weren't able to capitalize and get a victory?
Um, yeah, I feel like we saw with Denny Hamlin and even Ty Gibbs going to the back and finishing top five. I felt like if any of the Hendrick cars had that kind of a mistake, it would have been a tougher time getting to the front. I mean, Chase Elliott started 15th, got to 10th ish. I don't remember if he got stage points in the first stage. I think he may have grabbed one or two, but it felt like it took him all race to get up to second, and a lot of that was through pit stops. Whereas Denny Hamlin went to the back and pretty much drove up to the top five in one whole stage under green.
Yeah.
So like I said, I think them Chevys are fast out front. I think Hendrick got themselves up front, and when they were leading, they were hard to pass because Larson led a lot of laps, and I think Denny Hamlin was catching him to pass him. When, was that when or William Byron was catching Hamlin? That's what I'm thinking about. So I think they have the long run speed, but it takes them almost to the end of the run to get over the Toyotas, and I think they maybe have to work a little bit on the short run to match the Toyotas.
Because it seemed like Chase was running it down at the end of the
Yeah.
race. Like, because Denny even said he didn't think that he never felt threatened as far as the amount of laps that they had to go that Chase was going to pass him.
Yeah.
But he said if there was 10 more laps, I don't know. So it does, like you're saying, it seemed like the long run speed was there for the Hendrick cars. I guess speaking of Denny, he ends up getting the win. Everything that he went through last year, through the offseason and whatnot, the loss of the championship, the loss of his father, the win of the lawsuit, and everything that went through. Did did it make you feel good to see him win?
Um.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
watching Chase try to run it down. I get it.
Yeah. So I mean, I expected Denny to be back and winning races. I don't know if I have the feel good bone in me like everyone else does about it, but I don't hate seeing him win maybe
Yeah.
as much as I used to
I
or
agree
things
with
like
that part.
But yeah,
Um, did they they were talking about it on the teardown. Jimmy Johnson in 2016 won the championship uh, after the Edwards and Logano wreck there. Then the next year, to start the year, he won 3 races, and the one at Dover was his last win. And just like that, shut off.
yeah,
This is the argument that Bianchi was making on the teardown. Do you think that we've seen Denny Hamlin's last win now?
I don't think so.
Okay, so this is my thought on that. Jimmy, although he made it to the Final Four, I didn't feel like he was a strong championship contender that year. As far as when he won that championship,
Yeah,
that was some guys wrecked in front of me. I got a good restart and I won a championship. That's great. 7-time champ, all that. The next year, I still felt like it was tapering off at that point. Like I felt like it was tapering off going into the playoffs of 2016. And yeah, he won 3 races to start 2017, but it was like you could tell we're running out of steam. I didn't feel like 8 was ever a real threat.
yeah. I know a lot of people attribute Johnson had that one big wreck at Pocono when his brakes failed or something like that, and they said that was like the turning point for him.
Okay.
So I'd have to go back and remember what part of the year that was or what year that was, but it was like after that wreck, he just never seemed to run the same.
I just don't feel like there's anything to lead me to believe Denny's going to slow down.
Yeah, I haven't seen nothing.
Whether it's the tapering off of performance, like I was talking about, whether it's a wreck, like he's not been through anything that makes me go, I don't know if he's still got it. I don't know if he can still get it done often. You know, he might, like if you told me Brad Keselowski, you know, he's not winning a ton of races. If you said we've seen Brad's last win, I'd be like, I could see it.
Yeah.
But I still think that there's a chance he could win some more races. But Denny, I feel like, going into Darlington, I think he's a strong contender.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a good stretch of races that you're going to see that the 11 car could be really fast. So I don't by any means think that we've seen Denny's last win. The Daniel Cespedes on Twitter, he puts out a bunch of different NASCAR stats. I don't know if you've seen some
I've
of his
probably
stuff.
seen it, yeah.
I haven't seen this post yet, but Gluck was talking about it, saying that Cespedes sent it to him and that he was going to tweet it today. So I don't know if it's been out there yet or not. At one point, so Denny just won 61. Kyle Busch is sitting there at 63 on the list ahead of him. So I think that obviously he's going to pass Kyle on the
Yeah.
list. There was a time in both of their careers where obviously there's still a gap, but how big do you think the gap was at one point? How many more wins do you think Kyle had at the most had stretched it out to above Denny?
15,
22.
22.
At
Wow.
one time, Kyle Busch had won 22 more races than Denny Hamlin. That's how big the gap
Yeah.
was. And now he's closed it up to there's just two more.
They both started within a couple of years of each other, right?
1 year apart. Kyle was 05, Denny was 06. Uh, this is what's even more shocking to me. How many of those do you think have come since Kyle's last win? How many races do you think Denny's won since Kyle won at Talladega last? Or Gateway, I guess it was. Was his last one.
Oh, okay. So like 6, 7,
12.
12. Oh,
Denny's won 12 races since Kyle's last
wow.
win. Yeah. So that's you're gonna close the gap in a hurry if on the guy
Yeah.
if you win 12 races, he wins 0. It is a shame for Kyle. I got
Yeah.
no. I can't believe how bad I feel for Kyle Busch
Yeah.
for somebody that I hated for so long. But yeah, that to me was a crazy set of numbers. That there was once a 22 race gap, now it's down to 2, and Kyle's or Denny won 12 since Kyle last won a race. Let's look at the point standings if we can. Actually, let me pull it up on my phone because I've got the NASCAR points. I'm going to see if this still shows. This actually shows them one. Okay, so this shows SVG and Suarez tied for 16th on the NASCAR.com standings. Tyler Reddick obviously still leads. Bubba Wallace still in second. Ryan Blaney still in third. Denny Hamlin for starting the year kind of buried in points has made it all the way up to fourth. And your boy Chase Elliott sitting there in fifth. Christopher Bell in sixth. It's not a bad spot for him, but I guess this really felt like this was going to be a good race for him, and
Yeah.
didn't end up ending up as high up as he wanted to be. Kyle Larson in seventh, William Byron in eighth, Chris Buescher carrying the banner. Well, I guess Blaney's carrying it for Ford, but Buescher up there in ninth. Ty Gibbs, he actually started pretty far back too in points, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
I don't remember.
Okay, he's up to 10th. Logano's in 11th after starting the year as the point leader after the dual win.
Yeah.
And then Brad Keselowski's in 12th. He's had some good runs. Ryan Preece as well. McDowell, Hocevar, they're right there together in 14th and 15th. And obviously Suarez tied for 16th in SVG as well. Anybody really stand out or surprise you there?
Not particularly. I think all those guys up front we had in, other than I think I left Bubba Wallace out. So, but in reality, it doesn't really surprise me much that he's up there. So,
My surprises are that Austin Cindric is back in 30th in points. He's showing almost no. He's actually had some decent speed, just no finishes to go with it. And Kyle Busch in 22nd.
yeah,
It's only 6 points out or 6 positions out of the chase.
yeah. I mean, he's not out of it yet, but it just doesn't feel like he's in it either. So,
Well, that's what I mean. Like I would have thought that he was. I would if you told me he was 30th in points, I'd be like, yeah, it makes sense.
yeah.
But I didn't expect him to be as high up as he is for as lousy as his runs have been.
And he's even dropped. He just dropped 2 positions.
Yeah, so he's
also,
up to 20th before that.
Yeah.
That's actually impressing me a little bit that he ended up in that spot. Can you pull up the actual note sheet? Oh, we didn't have it up, did we? There we go. Okay. So coming out of this weekend, this doesn't look correct though.
I mean, these are still the Phoenix notes. So.
Okay, so that's I was looking to see who we had picked for this past weekend and where they ended up finishing. So I guess we'll just go to the.
I can just
right
to that over.
Okay, so going into this weekend, I thought that Chase Briscoe was going to be a contender for the win. That didn't end up being the case, but that was largely to them shooting themselves in the foot. You thought Christopher Bell, he started on the pole, ran well, didn't have a bad day, but just didn't end up getting what he was looking for. Our picks going into the race of guys that we for the garage area picks, guys that we're trying to use up off the sheet. I had Bubba Wallace, and he ended up with a ninth place finish. How many points did he score?
41.
And you had who?
The winner, Denny Hamlin.
That's things when you're that when you use the big guns, they end up winning, just like you had Christopher Bell last week with that second place finish. How many points did Denny get you this week?
70.
So what do the point standings look like for us right now?
For us, I have a 71-point lead on you.
And who's on the left and right for the averages?
The average is all you're the 13.8. I'm the 10.6.
So that's finishing position, or is that
average
points?
finish?
Okay, so I have an average finish position of 13.8. You have a 10.6 average finish, and I assume I'm also on the left here with 134 total points, and you have 205 total points. How's that stack up to the regular standings? So 205 total points. How many does Tyler Reddick have?
255.
So, and that still would be in
50.
second place though.
Yeah.
So that's still a pretty good scoring run there that you've got going on.
But you had 134.
Yeah, so
I'd put you just outside the top 10.
Yeah,
12th.
12th, yeah. So yeah, that's going a lot better for you than it is for me. So then we're gonna go into Darlington next week, and it's been said that by several different people that Darlington's going to be pretty intense with the increased horsepower. You're going to be hanging on every lap.
Not only the increased horsepower, they're using the short track package without the rear diffuser.
So less downforce being
yes, because I think the last previous years they still had the intermediate
package on
the car. So
that's going to be really interesting. I'm really looking forward to Darlington, even more than I was looking forward to Vegas. I think those guys that are able to hang on to race cars, like back in the day when you had race cars, I think they're going to be the guys that rise to the top. That's going to be the ones that you got to keep your eye on. I personally, I'm going with Denny Hamlin. He's coming off the win. He's really good at Darlington. He's the defending winner from there last year. He's one of those old heads that he drove those cars back when they were race cars, and you had to hang on to him. Brad Keselowski, somebody else that I think is probably going to be better than you would expect. But Denny's my pick to win. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I am going to go Kyle Larson. I feel like he's like the second best guy.
Yeah.
Him and Denny.
Another big guy.
Yeah.
Man alive.
I'm on a roll. I might as well keep going. So
second and first, and hopefully 36 this week. Maybe we can get Chastain around Larson again here at Darlington and see how that goes.
Part of me is like, why? Maybe I should have chose Briscoe, but maybe I'll save him for the.
Yeah, I
think he's better at the fall one than he is the spring one.
I agree, but then again, I mean, he was just getting warmed up with JGR last year when they went to Darlington. So
true.
Briscoe could be fast. He's very good at Darlington.
Yeah. But
I just feel like it's and you could make the argument that Byron's good at Darlington too, but I just think that this iteration is going to be Denny Hamlin.
Yeah.
Very, very curious to see how this one shakes out. Because there's a lot of guys that I think, it's kind of like Vegas, there's a lot of guys that I thought would be winning contenders. And there's nobody that just sticks out to me as the favorite at a track like this. But I think that, like we said, Brad, Denny, Kyle, possibly Briscoe, possibly Byron, those guys are the ones that I'd be keeping my eyes on, and we'll see where they end up getting us for finishes here. Never gonna be a bigger Denny Hamlin fan than I am this week.
Yeah.
Makes me nervous using one of the big guns or one of the big name picks going into the week.
Yeah.
You feel like you have to get a good result, which you've done the last few times that you've used them. So we'll see where that all shakes out there. Anything more you want to talk about from the Cup race? I guess we got to rate it.
Yeah, that was it.
That's what you're gonna say.
Yeah. I was kind of clicking on the screen to see if you saw it or not.
Well, tell me what you thought it was first.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like super action packed, but I felt like for the most part, Denny Hamlin proved you can get up through the field. Ty Gibbs maybe a little bit slower than Denny did, but Obviously, Denny won the race, so he had one of the fastest cars there. I give it a solid 7. I thought it was a decent race.
Yeah, I was trying to think what it would be. I want to see if I can pull this up on see what Gluck's poll is at. I can say that just on my own, when I was running the thought through my head, and this actually confirmed it because I'd forgot to vote and I just voted. I was going to say 6.5. I think that it was. I don't really want to change anything about the race. I'm not upset that there weren't more cautions. I obviously would have made it more exciting. Um, Denny and Ty were able to drive through the field, so you can't really make the passing argument. Good cars could pass. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
There's still some aero dependency issues that bother me, but it's not like it used to be.
Yeah. For me, out front was still just that little bit of aero dependency because I think it took a few, like Hamlin passing Christopher Bell at one point. I think Bell really held up Hamlin for a few more laps
Yeah.
than he should have been able to.
But Bell was also a fast car.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
getting.
no, it's. I'm agreeing with you
Yeah.
that like it. As long as the slow cars can't hold you up by just taking your air away,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. If Bell could do it a little bit, I'm more tolerant of that. I don't love that, but if they're a fast car and they're holding you up some, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and even at the end of the race and middle of the races where Denny Hamlin was up front and catching lap traffic, Denny Hamlin should be able to blow by the lap traffic at the speeds he'd be able to go in it. And you see how much it closed up to second, third place drivers when Hamlin is trying to get through lap traffic, and that should be.
But I also feel like you had that in years past as well. Those guys fight to stay on the lead lap for a minute.
Yeah,
I think it's a combination of things.
Yeah.
The Gluck poll ended up. What did you said a 7, and I said a 6.5. The Gluck poll ends up being a 61% yes. So I was guessing probably 63 to 65%.
Yeah.
I think he actually Briscoe, because he's involved in their guesses this year, he said that it was going to be 61. So they've got 12,000 votes so far. So they're.
I feel like the race was more hated online than really it should have been. I feel like everyone expects side by side racing 20 or every lap of the race. It's just not how it goes.
No, that's the thing. Like, was it the most entertaining race? No, but there's nothing that I'd really want to change about it either. Like, I don't want, NASCAR, you got to fix this. I'm not saying that at all. That's how this one played out.
As an Elliott fan, I wanted like 5 more laps.
That's
about the only thing I changed. But yeah.
As a Logano fan, I was just waiting for it to end. But yeah, I had no problem with how that race ended up going. Just wasn't the best race I ever saw. And some of them are going to be like that. Anything else you wanted to hit from the Cup Series?
That's all I got.
Kyle Larson wins the O'Reilly race. Big surprise there. Did you watch it?
I watched it. He didn't have the most dominant car, but I have to look at the results from.
Who was the most dominant?
Justin Allgaier led the most laps. He was out front a lot, and then
Jesse Love looks like he led.
Jesse Love. Those two guys. I think really Sheldon Creed and even Sammy Smith at times had better cars, but I think the experience of the drivers of Larson ran outside the top 5 most of the race.
Oh, really? What won him the race?
I think just I think tire strategy. Some guys stayed out on older tires because they didn't have tires left over or wanted to save a set at the end. And the way the cautions fell, and that one restart, he went from 6th to 1st. Once he got to lead, I think his experience kept him up there. Chase Briscoe would run him down at times, but he ended up using his stuff up. I think Briscoe started in the back, and he just slowly kept climbing his way up to the front. Even Briscoe would like hover around the top 5. He wasn't quite one of the fastest guys. Justin Allgaier, I believe he'd have restarted out front, he'd have won the race. But his crew always lost him a couple positions each time. It's just because he's the guy I watch Xfinity Series, and he won both stages, I believe. So Allgaier did.
Scroll down a little bit.
Yeah. He won both stages. So, just I think one time he lost like 5 positions, and then that restart where a bunch of guys stayed out and they lost a couple positions on pit road, and just kind of he never could recover from that.
Did you think the racing was better than the Cup Series?
It was.
Was it?
Yeah. I don't know if it's just a mixture of inexperience with experience and the way I think the cars are better overall. The aero tightness just like the Xfinity car, the driver behind can pack air on the driver in front, get him loose, and move him out of the way. And just if you're the second place driver in the Cup Series,
You're done.
you're done.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Xfinity cars are so much better. I just if they want a kit car, why don't they just make the Xfinity car a kit car in the
Yeah.
Cup Series?
Yeah. Don't know. Uh, Well, that's good. I wish I'd was able to watch that race on Saturday. Just a couple. What were you
Oh, I
gonna
was just gonna say one of the shots that just showed, I believe, I don't remember Corey Day and one other driver. I know Corey Day and Kyle Larson raced each other a lot in that race too. Watched them fight it out. Of course, they talked about it. That it was kind of like Larson's protege or whatever stuff. Just watching them wheel the car off at turn 4 sideways at times and getting loose and saving the car and going. If that was the Cup car, they'd have been spun out
Right.
and wrecked. So it just these cars are more forgiving, more fun to watch. It just not saying the Cup race was actually bad, but I miss these cars in the Cup
Yeah.
Series.
I agree. Anything else you want to talk about?
That's all I have.
I got two things. One three. I had three things, but we touched on the Darlington a little bit. How we thought that was going to be a little more treacherous than we would have originally anticipated. But Brad hosted the Dale Jr. Download this week, Brad Keselowski, and he had a couple comments that really caught my attention. One, since we're talking about it in the O'Reilly series, when they asked him about, did you listen to him?
I did.
And he said that they asked him about McFarlane starting in the 33 car, and he said it's a developmental series, right?
Yeah.
So he wouldn't have wanted him starting in the Cup Series, but didn't really have a problem with him starting in the O'Reilly Series because it is for development. Now, Brad also set forth some parameters that he thinks that you should make X amount of short track starts before you're in ARCA, X amount of ARCA starts before you're in the trucks, and X amount of truck starts before you get to the O'Reilly Series. And I agree with that. But I did think that was a unique way of looking at it. It's like, dude, he's not starting in the Cup race. It's a developmental series.
Yeah.
So that did kind of change my opinion to a degree. They all have stuff invested in the O'Reilly series too. I mean, we talk about, you just said it, it's the better racing of the weekend. So that you would hate to see somebody show up in there, not that he would, but somebody show up and wreck the whole field due to their inexperience. You don't want to see guys like that end up starting the race, but it's developmental. And so I think there's got to be some grace for him in that aspect. Certainly wish that he'd made more starts in something else before he gets there, but I don't think that it's the end of the world either. Now that Brad's kind of put my mind at ease to that a little bit. Do you think, though, this is somewhere along the line this question came up, and I'm sure through a podcast, where even if you didn't want to add practice time to the Cup Series, do you think that they should definitely add some to the lower developmental series? Because that's what they're there to do. If you're there to develop,
Yeah.
you should get more track time, right?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
So that does seem like they should add back some time.
Didn't they used to have like extra time for rookies or something at one time?
I don't know.
Extra
That could
tests or
be
something like that.
I thought about that too. What if in your rookie year you got 3 tests?
Yeah.
If you were going to a racetrack that you could test there 3 times.
Yeah. Other than their certification test that McFarlane did, because I know he run like a truck test before they allowed him to run a truck race.
Mm-hmm.
That was at Rockingham. But I mean, other rookies in the class that are actually like full time or whatever don't get that. So
I agree.
Yeah.
That should be a thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what the right balance is there. We'll develop that, I'm sure, here in the garage area at some point. And then the other thing that really caught my attention when they were asking him about the difference between the playoff system and the chase system, he said that he liked the chase system because, and he said this happened in years past, that you would win a race and you'd be in team meetings and they're like, you've won, you've locked in, we got to get this guy in, we're going to give him the A grade equipment this week. And it's like, you could see that play out on the racetrack. You could watch it. You could watch, the 22 win a race, and then all of a sudden they're running 15th every week. Like, what you just were running up front. What happened here? Well, they're not getting the A grade equipment on. Now the 2 and the 12 are. And it was like, I witnessed it. You think to yourself, that has to be what's happening. And Brad's like, yeah, that's what was going on. So it's both like, liberating to some degree to understand that what you were watching, you weren't insane. That it was an actual thing, but also looking at the fact of that we're past that now. Like
Yeah.
you're going to have to go for all the points you can get every week now. So whatever it is like you're going to have to run as hard as you can for the win. And I'm happy that that's the place that we're in now versus uh, the win you're in and try to get the other guys in type deal. Anything else?
I don't have anything else.
I don't either. Looking forward to Darlington. I'm really going to be excited. I'll probably watch. I assume trucks are there too, aren't they?
I don't think so. All right.
They're not. Let me look. I'll pull it up real quick. Yes, Friday.
Oh, okay.
Friday 7:30 is the truck race on FS1. Saturday at 5:30 is the O'Reilly Series race on the CW, and the Cup race is Sunday at 3 o'clock on FS1. Hopefully, excuse me. Hopefully on Monday after that race, we're talking about Denny Hamlin winning the race or Joey Logano. I'm good with either one. But until then, we'll make sure that you guys follow us on social media. Tune in to our clips that we'll be putting out throughout the week and our podcast next week after Darlington. Until then, we'll see you guys.